Oh, I just heard it. So I hope that this Bluetooth will help the audio with this video, not this one, because the microphone on here seems to pick up pretty good with the whiteboard presentation. Y'all not listening to me, so I'll shut up. Anyway, hopefully it'll help with this. All right, so look at our first problem there. And I'll just turn this around. I'm not writing this all over. Everybody good with the problems on the board? Since we got our computer working now. Okay, I know the people at home are not going to be able to see this like I want them to, but I'm not going to rewrite them all, but there. With this thing that wobbles. Wobble, wobble, wobble. All right. Somebody tell me, what is the domain with this function here?
-5 and 5.
Yes. What x values, and that's what domain is. Domain is what x values are being what? Being used. Good. What x values are being used here? Well, you just mark the x values here, and there they are, -5 to 5. Are they inclusive? Do we use -5 and +5?
Yes.
Why? How do you know that?
Closed.
Closed circle. So -5 to +5, and what does inclusive mean? Brackets or parentheses? There's our domain. Okay, now, what is our range? Well, range is the number values we use for what?
Y.
We use for y, or what the x values gives us for what? What the x values give us for what? For y. In other words, can we have y values if we don't have an x? Can you have ice without water?
Yes. No.
Leave. So, what is our y values that have been given to us from our x values? -3 to what? 4, Hubert. That's right, class. Now, why did I go -3 to 4? Well, I will tell y'all this. When the average person walks down a level piece of property, or let's say you're walking down the sidewalk from Oconee Hall to Anderson Hall or Pickens Hall. What do we usually do when we walk? Do we walk around like this, or do we walk around like this? We usually walk around with our eyes where? Straight ahead, but it's usually in a downward angle. And when something happens, what do? We look up, right? And some people walk around with their nose in the air. But that's another subject altogether. Okay? But most people walk around, and when they walk, they usually look like in a 30-degree angle down. And then when something happens, they look up. So it's human nature to start from the bottom and look what? Up. And that's the way I tell students because I'm all about consistency in math. I'm not all about y'all going all over the place. That's why I get mad at y'all when y'all go, so I'll use these points for x, and I'll use -4, +15, -6, 0, and -5, and +2. That's no consistency. So I tell students, so I go from the sidewalk to the sky. That's the way I look. All right, let's do this one. What about here? What's the domain and range for this one right here?
Infinity.
All what?
Real numbers.
All real numbers. Infinity to negative infinity to positive infinity, and negative infinity to positive infinity. Why?
So the arrow, so that it's.
The arrowheads are arrowheads, depending on where you're from. If you're from around here, it's arrowheads. That's ARRW, arrowheads. And if you're not from around here, it's arrowheads. Arrow.
Stop it. Here.
No, I'm teaching. What?
Well, this is a teaching thing. I'm teaching you.
I ain't got time for this.
Okay, where are the numbers? Because I was like, okay, well, we brought the 3 over.
You tell me. What do you got right there?
I was just.
What do you got right here? Look here. What do you got right there? What's that called? And what do you got to have fraction? Yeah, but what do you got to have? Common
Oh.
denominator. So this is 3 over 1. That's 3 over 1. So we got to change it to what? Something thirds. How many times does 1 go into 3? 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. That's you're on Facebook. That hurts my feelings. You're on Facebook. That hurts my feelings.
I'm waiting on you.
Okay, next time y'all ask me a question, I'm gonna start texting. See how y'all feel. All right. So what's the deal here? What x values are being used?
-5 and 5.
-5, +5. Okay, what do we get on this one?
Parentheses.
And what do we get on this one?
Bracket.
That's your domain. And our y values that our x values give us is what?
-2 and 5.
And of course they get the same thing, and that's our range. This one. Now, I don't care what this looks like in the center. I don't care what it looks like. It can be a line, it can be a curve, it can be a V looking, it can be whatever. Between those 2 points, as long as this curve don't go above this line, this dot, or this dot, your domain and range is going to be as if it was a straight line. Doesn't matter. Now, if the line goes over this point, or past this point, and past this point, or below this point, then you've got a different animal. And you have to do the highest point and the lowest point. And we'll do one like that here in just a second. So, let's look at this one. What's our domain here? What x values are being used here?
-4 to 5.
-4 to +5. Now what do they get?
Parentheses and a bracket.
Bracket on -4 and a parenthesis on +5. Now what y values are being used, dependent upon our x values, is -2 to what? To +5. And that gets a bracket. And this gets a,
Parentheses.
yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking over here. Yeah, it's a parenthesis.
So when it's going to the infinity side, it always gets a.
When it's open circle. Open circle is a parenthesis, and infinity is a parenthesis. Because you can't touch it. That's a bubble. Think of this as a bubble. Can I touch that 5? No, because that 5 is right here. Right there. I can use 4.999 and I can use 5.0001, but I can't use 5. That's what the open circle means. Open circle, bracket. Parenthesis. Closed circle, bracket. All right. Now we went over this last week. What does this mean? What does f plus g of x mean? Layman's terms, what does that mean? That means I want y'all to answer, it's not rhetorical.
You're gonna add f plus g and multiply it by x.
No, you're wrong, please.
Okay, fine.
What does it mean? It means I'm gonna take those two equations, or two expressions up there, x plus 3 and 2x plus 4, and do what?
Plug them in.
I'm gonna add them. That's all it means. Remember me going over this? And I told y'all that in pre-algebra and algebra 1, that you just add them together and subtract them. And now you hold your pinky up and you say, g of f plus g of x it's the same thing. Back in pre-algebra, this is what you did. In fact, let's go to the whiteboard. I just forget about this. Let's go back to the whiteboard. Let me move this back around. Now that we got our computer fixed. And let the wobble do its thing so I can adjust it. There we go. Let's go ahead and do the pre-algebra. Back the way it was in pre-algebra. In pre-algebra, they gave us those two, x plus 3, and this is what they said, combined. And they gave us x plus 3 plus 2x plus 4. And what did we do? We distributed the positive 1 here and the positive 1 here, and then we got x plus 3 plus 2x plus 4. And then what do we do? X plus 2x is, and 3 plus 4 is 7. And that was our answer. Okay, that's what you did in pre-algebra and algebra 1, right? Now, that's not good enough. You got to be more sophisticated. What does that mean? Well, it means uppity uppity. Find, and then they'll just say find, and then they'll say f of x is equal to x plus 3 and g of x is equal to 2x plus 4. Oop, my pinky ain't up. And they'll say find f plus g of x. And all you do is what you did back in pre-algebra. You take x plus 3 and you add it to 2x plus 4. And you get the same thing that you got in pre-algebra. I don't even have to do it. You do nothing else. Yes.
Okay. Remember in the notes when you were saying you're given examples of parallel lines and perpendicular lines?
Mm-hmm.
When you said y equals 4x plus 6,
Mm-hmm.
and then y equals 4x plus 1,
Mm-hmm.
were you just given the equations?
Yeah, just give them two equations and look at the slopes and see if they're equal. Are the slopes equal? Or
Well,
parallel?
on the perpendicular lines is y equals 4x plus 3. And then y equals negative 1 over 4.
And what do you do to the slopes of the perpendicular line? Well, you multiply them together and they're supposed to equal what? What's the rule? I'm listening. What's the rule for perpendicular?
-1.
No, not you.
They're the opposite reciprocal.
Shut up. What? What?
They're the reciprocal. You flip them.
No, what's the rule for perpendicular lines?
Oh,
M sub 1 times M sub 2 is equal to what?
So that's,
She hasn't said the rule yet.
I don't know.
No, not you. You're a visitor. You're not susceptible to this punishment.
But when you do the n sub 1, so you're supposed to have a parallel line and a perpendicular line.
No. Whenever they ask you about parallel and perpendicular lines, you find the slopes, and then you either see if they're equal, or you multiply them and see if you get a what? What's the rule say about perpendicular lines?
They're supposed
say, you don't have the rule written down, do you?
I do, it's right here.
What does it say?
Well, I know on x equals number,
Nope. M sub 1 times M sub 2 is equal to
negative one.
-1. So what do you do with those two slopes? Multiply them together. And what do you get?
Will they always give you two different equations though?
Yeah. If they set it up like that, yeah. Or I'll ask you find an equation of a perpendicular or parallel. That's the only two kinds of questions you can have. Either they give you two equations and you solve for y and compare the slopes, or I'll give you 2 points and you are a point on an equation, and then you find the equation like this one. Okay?
Okay, so on the M1 equals M2, that's for parallel, right?
That's for parallel, yes.
And then M sub 2 times M sub 1 is for perpendicular.
It's equal to -1. That's perpendicular. Okay? All right, now, let's do this one. X plus 3 is equal or minus 2x plus 4. And I just realized that I have my g of x and f of x turned around. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Don't ignore the board over there, okay? Because I'm doing it up here. All right, so what do you do here? This is pre-algebra and algebra 1. You just put a 1 there and have -1 here. This is multiplicative identity, so that's x plus 3. And then minus 2x minus what? 4. And what's your final answer? I'm waiting.
What? For what?
X minus 1.
What's x minus 2x?
It's negative x.
Negative x. And then what's 3 minus 4?
Minus 1.
Minus 1. And there's your answer. I don't know why this thing is doing this, but yes.
Could you take out a -1?
You can take out a -1, but there's no sense in doing it. I mean, you can. Not a big deal if you don't. I don't know why it's putting a little tag on everything. Y'all know it does weird stuff.
Well, it did that at first.
I know. And that's when it crashed. All right. So now I'm going to do f of x is equal to x plus 3, and g of x is equal to 2x plus 4. And now I want you to find f minus g of x. Well, what is f minus g of x? Negative x minus 1. It's the same thing you did back in pre-algebra. You just do this. X plus 3 minus 2x plus 4. And 90% of algebra students know how to do this. They see this and they don't know what that means. It's this, which is that right there. So negative x minus 1. And hold your pinky up while you do it, because that's the only difference between these two. All right, let's do the third one. F times g of x. Well, back in algebra 1, x plus, okay, this is getting old. X plus 3 times 2x plus 4. All right, I want y'all to multiply that right quick. Of course, using what?
Well,
F-O-I-L. I do not pronounce it. I do not pronounce it because people will make fun of the way I say it. So. And then over here it's going to be f of x is equal to x plus. And I know y'all think I'm dragging my pen, but I'm not. Let me try another pen. f of x is equal to x plus 3. I think it's working better. G of x is equal to 2x plus 4. Yeah, it's working a whole lot better. F times g of x. Now, both of these are going to come out with the same thing. But I'm showing you that when you see f times g of x, basically you're going to take the two things and you're going to what? Multiply them. So using our FOIL method, x times 2x is what?
2x squared.
Plus 4x plus 6x plus 12. And outside and inside combine, 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. And that's going to be the same thing here. 2x squared plus 10x plus 12. Same thing. Now I'm doing this for a reason, because I'm going to lead up to what we're doing today that some people find very confusing, and that's composition, which is plug and chug. And I'm going to show you what you did back in Algebra 1, and it's no different than what you're doing, what you're going to be doing now. F divided by G. I'm not really going to get into F divided by G too much, because you can't really divide anything, so it's not that big of a deal. And I'm just going to write F divided by G of x, and that's going to be x plus 3 over 2x plus 4. That's it. You can't do anything. Why can't we cancel anything out? Because both of them are what? Married. You can't cancel anything out. When I say married, they're joined together by a plus or a minus. If two things are joined together by a plus or minus, you can't cancel anything until you factor a common multiple out. Like, for instance, let me give you an example, and I'm just going over here and showing you. Let's say if the answer came out to be 2x plus 6 over 2x plus 4. Let's say that you got an answer like that. Is there a common factor that you can factor out? Yes, 2. And that'd be 2 times x plus what? 3 over 2 times x plus what? 2. And what can happen now? And that's it. You can't do anything. You can't cancel this x with this x, because this x belongs to this what? 3, and this 3 belongs to this x. Wife, husband, husband, wife, whatever you want to call it. And here's another husband and a wife right here. This one belongs to this one, and this one belongs to this one. These two can't get together because they belong to somebody. Okay? And the same thing with minus. X minus 3 over 2x minus 4. You can't cancel anything here because this 3 belongs to this. He or she is a bad person, a bad spouse, because they got a negative in front of them. And this is the good spouse, but the whole point is, whether they're good or bad, you can't mix this guy with this spouse, because you just don't do that. Okay? All right, so we've covered everything up to about 7.3. But what is the point that I was telling you students get confused? Well, here it is. And this is new stuff. And I don't know what section it is. Somebody look in your book. I'm thinking it's 7.3. It's called composition of functions. Somebody look it up for me so I can give you all a page number.
7.4.
How much?
7.4.
7.4. Okay, so it's by itself. Is it 7.4 all composition? What is the title of 7.4?
The algebra of functions.
Okay, well, I've already covered addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So it's probably in there, the end of 7.4, I don't know. So 7.4. Let me say I give you, remember this problem? The farmer has a piece of property and he wants to fence it in, and he's got 215 feet of fencing. He went and bought 215 feet of fence, and the only thing you know about this is you know that the length is 3 times the width. Okay? That's the only thing you're given. Okay, do y'all remember doing something like this? Well, what is fencing? Is it perimeter, area, or volume? It's perimeter. It goes around the property. So P is equal to 2L plus 2W. Oops. And what are we given? Somebody tell me what we're given.
We're given all the length.
We're given the perimeter, which is 215, right?
Oh, I thought he said he
He bought
bought 250.
215 feet. He's got to fix it to where he can. He needs to know this length, and this length, and that's supposed to be 3W. Why?
Because it's 3 times.
Because you have 3 W's right here. There's the W's, and here's the 2 lengths. Here's your length. And here's your length. There's your 2 lengths right there. And then you got a W here, or a W, depending on where you're from. And that's the 3W. Alright, so 2L plus 3W. But we know something about the length. What do we know? L is equal to 3 times what? So if we know that, we have an equation here that says length is equal to 3W. What can we do with that equation, this 3W? What can we do with that? Plug it in for what?
Length.
Yeah, take that 3W and plug it in right here.
You do 2
So,
times 3W.
215 is equal to 2 times 3W plus 3W. What did I do? What did I do? Tell me what I did.
You just brought it down.
No.
Well, you plugged it in.
I plugged what? I plugged the 3W in for what? L. Now this is the point you need to see right here. Let me take my handy dandy highlighter. This right here is what you need to see to understand what we're doing in 7.4. That's it. Alright, now you can solve it. 2 times 3W is what?
6W.
6 plus 3 is
9W.
9W. I'm going to finish it because you might get this on a standardized test, especially you nursing people. Divide by 9. What's 9 will go into 21? What? 2 times? That'll leave 35. 24. That's approximate. Equals W. And if W equals 24, what's the L? 72.
24 times 3.
So 72. So this is 72. This is 72. And this is, what did I say, 24? 24, 24, and 24. Now he knows how to make his fence. Okay, I don't care about the fence part. This is what I care about right here. I took an equation and I took, let me get my handy dandy highlighter. I took this guy right here and I plugged it in right there. I took an equation and I plugged it into another equation. Do you understand that? All right, now that's what you did. Let me give you another example.
What they have to tell you is, it's either 3 times or
Yep.
anything like that.
7 minutes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. y is equal to 2x plus 3, and 2x plus 3y is equal to 14. All right, this is your solving systems of equation that some of you did in Algebra 2 in high school, or intermediate algebra, which is at the end of this chapter, end of this unit. We hardly ever get to it. What am I going to do with these two? Well, this one is the most complicated, so I'm going to leave it alone. But what does this one say? Y is equal to 2x. What can I do with this right here?
Plug it in for y.
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be 2x plus 3y?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to do this. 2x plus 3, and I always tell you to use what?
Parentheses.
And then I'm going to plug in that 2x plus 3, and then I'm going to finish it. 2x, I'm not going to finish it all together, but 6x plus 3 is equal to 14, and then that's 8x plus 3 is equal to 14. And then once you get x, what do? Go back and plug in x to get what? Y. Okay, that's later on, okay? All right? What's going on with that thing?
It's got a blue box on it. I don't know.
Really?
It's still recording that.
Oh, that's telling me. It's reading my, it's reading my calendar, telling me that my class is coming in next. Okay, now let's look at this now. All right, okay, we're gonna do something right here. Ready? I'm going to get you into 7.4 right now. Given f of x is equal to 2x plus 3, and g of x is equal to 4x plus 2, find f composed of g. Now that is an open circle. That is not a multiplication symbol. Looks like fog. Now, what this means, all right, this is Hubert terms. Okay, this is Hubert terms. Rewrite f of x with a big set of parentheses for x and plug in g of x. That's what that means. Now what if I had g composed of f? Well, g composed of f would be rewrite g of x with a big set of parentheses and plug in what? There you go. So you need to write that down. And what I usually tell students to do is take a different color marker and put, no sneezing, put g of x right here in blue, and then put f of x right here in blue, and that way you know that if it's in rewrite g of x, and this would be in blue right here, g composed of f. Goth. Fog and golf. And do not pronounce F-O-C-T. All right? Now, let's do this one. I'm on, what time is it, Miss Rose?
12:17.
What time's class over?
12:20.
Okay, I got 3 minutes. I'm not worried about attendance. I'll just count everybody here. Let's go. I'm going to erase this. Well, let me move it because y'all might be right. Oops. I suck. Hold on.
So, if you do it like f composed of g or g composed of x, do you get the same thing?
No,
Okay.
do not. Okay, I ain't worried about that. Okay, here we go. So, f composed of g. I'm in a hurry, that's why I can't do anything right. All right, f composed of g here we go. I'm going to rewrite F with big set of parentheses plus 3. And I'm going to take G and plug it in right there. And do it. 8x plus 4 plus 3 is equal to what? 8x plus 7. So F composed of G is 8x plus 7. Now do G composed of F. Now, how hard is that? It's not hard at all. G composed of F, Goth. All right, G is 4 parentheses plus what? 2. And what am I going to plug in here? 2x plus 3, and do it. 8x plus 12 plus 2 is equal to what?
8x plus 14.
And see, they are not equal. Sometimes they may come out to be equal, sometimes they won't. Most of the time they won't. And that's how you do 7.4 composition. It's just plug and chug, plug and chug. Now, what I wanted to cover today was plugging and chugging and finding your f of x, f of 2, f of 3, but I'll have to wait and go over that Wednesday because of the computer situation. So, any questions? Okay, what y'all need to do is continue to work on 3.6 and 3.7, is that the two sections? And then 7.1 through 7.4. You should be able to start on 7.4 if you haven't already done so. Okay?